Keeping venomous reptiles is an unforgiving hobby, requiring proper training and lots of experience. One simple mistake can be the difference between life and death. Remember, the most venomous snake in the world is the one that just bit you. There are no venomous snakes with training wheels. Just because you see viperkeeper handle snakes a certain way does not mean you should try it too.
Right now I'm getting ready to go on one of my normal business trips, and I got home very late from the office and the lights are already off in the snake room, but still I need to take care of my animals before I go on the road, because animals like Mr. Frantic Bothrops there is something that Lori can't deal with, and you know, she's very happy that I ban her from going in that cage. Now Mr. Frantic here really likes my heat signature. He doesn't like getting his ass wet, because he's a tropical snake. God forbid he got water on him. He's all done, and again we're in here after hours, and he needed his dish changed because he soiled in it like most snakes do. So we're just making our rounds here in the large room. I've already taken care of the animals in the smaller room.
Miss Blue is already in her hunting position. This is where we find her every evening.
Yeah, she's all the night shift snakes come out and assume the attack position, and you can also see the haboos are all out, and there's someone unhappy with me because I didn't feed them this weekend. You know, keepers overfeed their animals, so I don't feed these guys, the adults, every week. If I do, it's a very small prey item, unless of course they've been off feed because of a breeding cycle or a shedding cycle. Well, we have their horned pit vipers in this cage, and there's 2 of them in there, and it's very difficult to feed things when there's more than one critter in the cage, because they can bite each other, or they can bite on one side of the rodent and you know, bite on, see, we got both heads advancing at once. This is always a very tricky venue, because you don't want one biting the other. Okay, now you behave yourself for 2 seconds and I promise you I will feed you. Would you like that? Huh? You would? Okay.
Well, that worked well.
Yeah, but you know, I hold my breath because last time one grabbed one end of the mouse, Fuzzy, the other one grabbed the other end, and I ended up just getting a pair of scissors and cutting it in half. You know, the King Solomon trick. You know, but this is what happens sometimes. You know, you just have to take the best care you can to make sure nobody, including the feeder, me, gets hurt. Alright, I have these 2 juvenile water cobras. They're very excitable for food. They're very shy, but when I offer food, they usually take it quite willingly, despite their fear of me. And of course, you know me, I'm just an angry old man, and I just beat them daily and stuff. You know, these guys, these are my favorite cobras of the true cobras. They have personalities, they're beautiful, their venom is purely neurotoxic, which means that if you get bit, you just have to worry about respiratory arrest and death and not losing flesh if you survive. So that's why they're my favorite, and they're very personable. As you know, as we know, Thud is quite the character. So we're going to shut this, and we're going to let this this guy do his thing. And we've got another one here. Actually, there's 3 water cobras in a row here. The third one is a wild caught. I've had it for a couple of years. It's still eating fish and rat pinks. I've gotten it that far, but it won't just eat rat pinks on its own. So it's a problematic feeder. So we have this guy. Hello. Oh yes, I'll take that, Mr. Viperkeeper. They're growing, and you know, my hopes is to be able to breed these just for a bucket list thing. I loaned a big male to a zoo, and they had a big female. The female they bred. The female laid 40 eggs. And unfortunately, she died the next day. We don't know why. No necropsy was done, but she was dead. And none of the eggs hatched. It just is a huge tragedy on tragedy. So I've got a few females, I've got a few males, and the hopes is that I can hatch some baby water cobras. You know, I put trap boxes in certain cages where certain animals are a little bit difficult to deal with, like Little Reaper, Mr. Boomslang, and I just looked in, and Mr. Boomslang is nowhere to be found. So the glass is intact, but still I worry, and I'm going to have to get a light and shine it in here and just make sure Mr. Boomslang is high in his trap box, which is fine. That's good that he's using it, because that means if I really needed to service the cage, or I needed to do something else, or move him to a different cage for whatever reason, I can lock that and he's safely secured inside. You know, he's safe, I'm safe, and that's the best situation. So I'll have to have a look inside and see where he is. He may be in shed, that's why he's in there. You know, I know Slinky's in shed. However, I also know that this girl is in her trap box, but when she has her nose poked out like that, she's waiting for some food, and she's gonna have to wait a bit for that. Alright, so we have the young Russell's viper. Oh, and are we being... Oh, I think we've decided that there's something that may be tasty, and we won't be defensive. Huh? So you're going to take that off the forceps? You're considering that, huh? I see your lips part a little bit. Well, oh, we made sure it was dead, that's for certain. So we'll just close this because we don't want to make him upset. And Russell's vipers, as you saw from my last video, will explode at a moment's notice. And we don't want Russell's viper snake hockey to take place today, so we will just avoid that. Now, the other Russell's viper, this little turd, mostly likes eating rat pinks and stuff. Last week I successfully got him to eat a mouse. It's not his favorite, but he did eat it. So again, just like the other one, we're just going to close this up, and we'll check tomorrow morning and see if there's food there or not. my big old female variable bush viper. I don't know if you can see this, but her little snoot is poking out the opening there, knowing that it's feeding day. Yup, she's a happy camper now. She's produced some babies for us. Sadly, most recently, if you remember a few videos back, she slugged out this time, so I separated her from the male to give her a rest, and I'll put them back together at some time soon, and hopefully we have some babies the next breeding cycle. So we'll just let her eat also. There's no reason to sit here and disturb the animal. There are certain animals though that are vacuum cleaners and will suck it down quick. She'll take a little while, so we'll just leave her be and not waste the video. Okay, here's a little male squaminger that was born at our facility. He is a terrible feeder, of course, because he's male and he's at breeding age. He will take, if he eats at all, he usually will take some provocation. Come on. You know, these guys, Mrs. Viperkeeper fostered these guys from you know, little toxic worms to this size. This is 2000. He was born in May of 2018, and once they reach adult male, they're just like, I'm not really interested in food anymore. And they become really, really tough feeders. You saw him sort of like, leave me alone. I'm not interested, but I am very persistent. Come on, come on. He may not eat. He may just get tired of me poking him and eat.
There we go.
But there's no guarantee that he'll eat that. So what we're going to do is we're going to gently shut this and let him eat in his quiet abode, and we'll move on and we'll check it later just to make sure that it's still there. It's gone down the hatch. So this squam was born by November of 2018, almost December, by a different parent than these guys. Which is good, because technically I can breed those because they're not related. I am very against breeding brother to sister, sister to parent. I'm sorry, that's just wrong. It happens in nature. However, it doesn't happen here at the lair because I have say over what goes on here. At any rate, this girl, normally I don't name my snakes. And sometimes they get named these unfortunate names because of circumstance. If I name something, it's because they exhibited some behavior or some issue. Up until recently, she had no name. She was just, you know, designated, you know, the blue-green squam had no name. Well, what happened? We came in. And we found that she shed and she took a crap at the same time, and she had crap on her head, so she is now known as poop head, but in other words that begin with S, which we can't use. But she is stunningly gorgeous. Wrong snake. It's like Bullwinkle and Rocky. Watch me pull a rabbit out of the hat. Rawr, wrong hat. So, any rate, here she is, and she's got something on her nose, a fly actually.
A fly, yep.
So, we have to clean this, but we'll feed her first. She's just gorgeous, okay? There's no two ways around it, but she earned this terrible name. She's a wonderful feeder. As you can see, she is not wasting any time. She is just a beautiful variable bush viper. So You know, I moved her to a large cage so she could be better appreciated, and I would have room to put a male in with her. She went total butthurt on me and went off feed, and I eventually had to put her back in here to get her to feed again. That's just the way these guys are. So we're going to let her eat and move on to the next snake. Okay, as we were sitting here feeding other animals, the question of where Mr. Boomslang went has been answered. He's peering out his door at us, which is perfectly okay. I'm certainly not going to disturb him, but I'm sure that he detected both the movements and the noise in the room, and then detected the scent of food. So, not to be left out, since he's a vacuum cleaner, he's decided to have a look out from the safety of his hut and see what was going on. We will carefully open this because Big Mama, as we call her, is looking for something else to eat. She has a very good appetite. There we go. Again, you know, I try not to overfeed animals because then they become obese. However, she put a lot of energy into producing, unfortunately, those unfertilized ova and got thin. So she gets a little bit of extra food so she can build back up to reproductive weight so we can breed her with either the same beautiful male or some unrelated male that might come around calling. So we'll just let her eat, and we'll shut this in because we've got other fish to fry, so to speak.
Look at this hopeful little face. And we have another one right next door.
And Mr. Tyrannica was roaming around his cage and then decided, oh, there's food in the room, I can taste it, and came over to the windowsill and put his head there, waiting hopefully. That's just the way things go here at the lair.
They have such personality. People really don't understand that. They're just adorable.
Yes, and just like people, some are assholes like that guy down there, Mr. Boomslang. You know, Mr. Tyrannica and Thud are not in that category. They never give me trouble. All right, so these are my two remaining baby coral cobras. I found proper homes for everybody else. I kept number 5, which I think is a male, because he's currently only eating geckos. However, the one female I kept is loves mice and will come charging over just like her crazy mother and grab them. Look how big she is in this, let's see, basically 3, 4, 5 months or so, going on 6 months old. She's a trooper. She will sit there and eat until she explodes, but you know, I only give her 1 of this size or 2 of the smaller variety. I don't want to grow them up too fast. Now we'll have to come back later for the male because, like I said, he's a pain in the butt and will only eat geckos, but he will take the gecko right off the tongs.